Greetings, greetings, and welcome back to the Osha Cerese Show. I am your host, Osha Cerese. This is where culture meets coaching, where healing meets headlines, and where we utilize alchemy to transmute gossip into growth. Thank you for tuning in. We got another late night show. I just have to make sure for myself, for my commitment to show up here every day that I get here before midnight, and I have accomplished that. So, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I had a busy evening, and so we just gonna flow today. We're gonna just see what comes up and what happens. I did a little bit of preparation for this show, but not too much. So we're just gonna see how it goes. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please do so now. This is where the show lives, where you can go and watch previous episodes, where you will be able to see it all the time when it does come on, because it might not always stream on Instagram. So make sure you're subscribed. The link is in my bio, youtube.com/at Osha Cerese. That is youtube.com/at Osha Cerese, OSHACERESE. And don't just subscribe. Make sure you turn your notifications on, because like you see, you never know when I'm going to pop up. You want to be informed. You want to be here live. I love when you all are here live with me, interacting with me. It helps me out. This is episode 20, y'all. Again, I made the commitment to show up live every day. So just imagine talking for 20 hours. This is 20 hours worth of content available to you on my channel of me, just me. This is my show. This is me running it solo. I told y'all I'm a certified yapper, but baby, it's a lot of talking. So when you think about the average talk show, they are produced by a team, directed by a team. There's lights, there's cameras, there's scripts, there's cue cards, there's a teleprompter. There's all kind of researchers that are looking for the stories. There are, like I said, cameramen, lights, camera, all of that. And there are commercial breaks. There's a studio audience. There are guests, all of that, which means that the host doesn't have to do too much. Yeah, she's got, whoever the talk show host is probably doing maybe tops 30 minutes of talking, because there are so many things and they have a whole team. But everybody that I just named is me. I'm lights, I'm production, I'm research, I'm camera, I am talent. It's me. So I'm proud of myself. I'm celebrating my 20 days, 20th episode of showing up, being live, and being consistent. That is a big thing, being disciplined enough to be consistent. Now, hopefully, in the next coming months, it'll be consistent with a certain time, so you know where to see me every day. But I'm gonna give myself grace on that, and we just gonna celebrate that it's happened every day. So again, if you want to check some of those old episodes out, they are on my channel under live videos. I'm catching up. I'll be catching up with adding the descriptions and all of that, so you'll know exactly what each episode was about. Until then, just listen. Just push one and listen and see what you think. Now, again, this 20 days, you've seen me in all different types of moods. You've seen me energized. You've seen me a little bit stressed. But hopefully you don't notice as much. There's been times where it was like a rough day, and I let y'all know to give me some grace. But for the most part, I think we've been doing good. Again, I spent the first week, 2.5 weeks, juicing and the raw vegan cleanse, but I'm back eating hot food again, trying to, keep the starches and the processed foods down to a minimum. But, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I got to get back on my workout journey too. I kind of fell off with that. I'm going to have y'all keep me accountable. This is the drink of the day. It's an Olipop. Out of all the like prebiotic sodas, I'm an Olipop girl. The poppies, I haven't really had a flavor of poppy. There's the holiday flavors. There's a cranberry poppy that I like. But for the other flavors, I'm an Olipop girl. This is watermelon lime. My favorite is actually strawberry vanilla. I have some of that in the fridge, and grape. I like the grape. But watermelon lime is cool too. So cheers to great health, happiness, joy, success, love, and abundance. Cheers. Watermelon lime. It's all right. It's all right. It's like my third favorite. Third or fourth favorite. So again, it's February. Happy Black History Month. We've been celebrating Black history all month, Black love all month, Black culture all month. And we're going to keep celebrating it. We already know that. We blackity black 24/7, 365 around here. But we are doing Black History Spotlights every day. And today, I wanted to spotlight Black influence in music. Cheers to AO7 Dad on Instagram. I appreciate your support and coming and just sticking around, popping in live with me sometimes. I appreciate that. So today, again, I wanted to celebrate the Black influence in music, just with a little bit of fun facts. You know, we ain't gonna go too deep because that could be really a whole series in itself for the month if we really want to talk about the influence that Black people have had in the music industry. So, of course, Black people didn't just influence music, we created entire genres. And somehow we don't always get the credit. So today, let's give flowers where they're due and highlight how Black artists shaped every single genre of music we listen to today. Blues, which can be considered the foundation of it all, originated from the spirituals, field hollers, and work songs of enslaved Africans. Some of the key pioneers are Muddy Waters, B.B. King, Ma Rainey, and Robert Johnson. And my distant cousin, Bobby Blue Bland. He ain't on this list, but I just wanted to shout that I got a great in my family too. Blues laid the foundation for rock and roll, R&B, and even hip hop. Jazz, Black innovation and musical freedom, born in New Orleans in the early 20th century, known for improvisation, syncopation, and raw emotion. Legends like Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, and Ella Fitzgerald, just to name a few, have influenced jazz. Rock and roll, aka a stolen sound. Some of the pioneers are Chuck Berry, Little Richard, Sister Rosetta Tharpe. They all helped create rock and roll. But who got credited? Elvis, the Beatles. Little Richard once said, Elvis got what he got from me. Little Richard didn't play no games, baby. I need to know, when was Little Richard's birthday, because he didn't play about his recognition, baby. Period. Let me know when his birthday is. He's a Sagittarius. That makes sense. December 5th, 1932. So, R&B and soul, my favorite genre. The sound of Black love and pain. Rhythm and blues, baby. And you know how they say, I'm gonna just keep that to myself right now. Aretha Franklin, Otis Redding, Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Sam Cooke, to name a few. Soul music became the soundtrack for the civil rights movement. Hip hop, the culture that has taken over the world. Literally everywhere you go is going to be hip hop being played, hip hop being viewed in the way people dress, and the way people walk, and the way people do art, all of that. Hip hop is not just rap music. Hip hop is dancing, break dancing, graffiti. It's the language, the lingo, it's the look, it's all of that. It was created in the Bronx in the 1970s. And oh, I almost forgot DJing as well. Run DMC, Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas, Outkast, Missy Elliott, Lauryn Hill, to name a few. But we know we have the Sugar Hill Gang, I believe, is officially the first rap song. But when you really look into history and you hear some R&B songs and even some gospel songs, the flow of it was giving rap before it was coined rap or hip hop. Gospel, the heart and soul of black music. Some of the pioneers, Mahalia Jackson. We got Kirk Franklin, who took gospel music and really transformed it in order to touch the youth in a major way. Um, Kirk Franklin and the Family, Yolanda Adams, James Cleveland. Many legendary R&B and soul artists got their start in gospel music, like Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, Sam Cooke. A lot of artists started out in gospel, and some people say that that's kind of what's missing in R&B today, is that the artists are not starting out getting those roots in the church. What do y'all think? Country music. We were there too. The banjo came from Africa. Black cowboys, which really black cowboys is kind of like saying the same thing twice, because when you go back in history, what do what is the derogatory term, one of them, that black men were called all the time? Boy. There were no white men referring to themselves as cowboy. Cowboys were black back in the day. And then the other people started loving the way that it sounded and whatever else, and they decided to call themselves that. But anyway, cowboys and musicians were some of the earliest pioneers of country music. Charlie Pride was one of the first black country stars. Today we have Kane Brown, Mickey Guyton. We got Beyonce. We got what's her name? Tanner. Let me see her name. I don't want to mess it up. We got Shabuzi. We got K Michelle. I want to make sure I'm getting her name right. Tanner Adele. Tanner Adele. And we even, we got the house and techno music, of course. That was also created in the black community as well. House music, Chicago. Techno music, Detroit. Frankie Knuckles was house, and Juan Atkins techno pioneers. And now electronic music is a global phenomenon. But its black roots are often unrecognized. So I've seen some parties, some house music parties. They do an event I want to say it's every summer or every spring in Atlanta, called House in the Park or something like that. And I always miss it, but it'd be so hot. I'm like, ooh. This year I was gonna go, or last year I was gonna go, but it was just extremely hot. I didn't end up going. But house music, and it's not mentioned on my list, but also go-go music. Um, you hear go-go music in DC with certain sounds like doing the butt, that certain drum pattern and the music that they make over there on that side of the globe. And then we got Zydeco, I think it's called, in New Orleans. There's all type of subgenres of music as well. And then of course pop. Black artists set the standards of that. Who's the king of pop? A black man, Michael Jackson. Some consider Prince pop. He was a musical genius. He played so many different instruments. And some people consider Whitney Houston pop as well. And there's different artists that can be considered pop. Chris Brown, he's R&B, but he can rap. He can be considered pop. Drake can be considered pop, rap, R&B. So we everywhere. We all in here. We all up and through the music industry, the music influence. We created the sound. We perfect the sound. It sound. I don't make up the rules. It's in us, not on us. So I did see a post on the Shade Room yesterday. I need to look and see what some of the responses were. But it was basically highlighting black male groups, singing groups. And I usually stick with the 90s when I talk about like favorite 90s R&B male groups. That's my favorite genre to talk about. But some of the groups that they highlighted were New Edition, Boys to Men, Jodeci, 112, Jagged Edge, Blackstreet, Drew Hill, Next, B2K, Jackson 5, Guy, The Temptations, The Isley Brothers, Tony, Shy, Silk, Mindless Behavior. And my first thought was, where is H-Town? Because that's my favorite group. And I see Day 26 put their question mark in their wondering emoji, thinking emoji in there, trying to figure out where they were. I see somebody else said, where is H-Town? Yep. New Edition is what someone said. Someone said mindless behavior before B5 and saying like, look, somebody said mindless behavior before Pretty Ricky should be a crime. Listen, I honestly, I don't know if it's too soon for this, but I want a Pretty Ricky biopic because I have questions. Like I want to see, I want to see it in action, like their growth and their claim to fame, because they just some wild boys at this point. Like some of the things that you see in the headlines, Slickum Hound. He has definitely had some ups and downs in the media. Um, I don't know what he got going on, but I'd like to know. What's his name? Baby Blue just got out of prison from PPP scam. Um, Pleasure P, he's doing all right. He's got RSVP that he's doing with Ray J, Sammy, and Bobby Valentino, which I've heard a couple of their songs. They sound good. I like all of those artists. And Spectacular is the only one that's, I ain't gonna say the only one, but he's the one that's really doing well financially and in business. He figured out how to monetize the internet, how to create wealth using social media. And I believe he's into tech or something like that as well. Somebody else that really took their platform and their money and fame and poured it into a different path. This has nothing to do with this particular list, but it just came to mind. Chameleonaire from I was about to say from H-Town, from Houston. When he was, I never did like Chameleonaire's flow, but he took his money and all of that and invested in tech, and now he's doing well financially as well. Somebody said Jackson 5. Stop playing with Boys to Men. We gonna hear Let It Snow every Christmas. Mint Condition, H-Town. That's what somebody was asking where they at. I guess, they can't put everybody in there, but there were some groups that they definitely let off. So as far as this list goes, New Edition, they came out in the 80s. I love their music. At first, it was, of course, the bubblegum teeny bopper type music when they first came out because they were teens themselves. And then them evolving and then switching out Bobby Brown for Johnny Gill. Their sound kind of changed. Icons. I think they are doing a residency in Vegas as well. Boys to Men. Boys to Men can sing. They can sing. They have beautiful voices. It was giving kind of like barbershop quartet vibes. And they have some really great singles that I love. I've never really been a Boys to Men fan like that, where they're not in my top three, they're not in my top five. Not because they can't sing, not because they don't have good songs. It's kind of like the feeling, the soul, the sexiness that I look for when I listen to R&B songs, especially from male groups. They just don't give that for me. So that's that's my take on them. Uh, their talent is absolutely there. It's just the aura and the energy is not there for me. The soul. Jodeci is in my top three. Casey and JoJo, beautiful voices. I don't know what Devontae and Dalvin sound like because I think they were more on the writing and producing parts of the group. Um, that Devontae Swing sound. Is it Devontae Swing or Devontae Swain? I don't know. But Devontae sound unmatched. Um, and they're a dope group. Like they got some songs. Um, them songs, and then even with Casey and JoJo when they branched off, their sound as Casey and JoJo, the duo, sounds totally different than Jodeci, but they have some nice songs as well. Like Life and All My Life and what was another song Casey and JoJo have? Can't think of them right now. I don't want to hear them. But Devontae Swang, he also did a lot of production for H Town, which is my favorite group. And his sound is dope. Now, I heard some horror stories about Devontae Swang. They said he used to, I don't know if he used to manage and produce Missy, Timbaland, Genuine, that crew. These folks, I don't know if Stevie J was the one that leaked this information, but I did hear him talking about it. But I don't know if he was the first person that mentioned it publicly. But basically, he said, and another source said that Devontae Swing would literally line Missy, Timbaland, Genuine up, and whoever else was in his crew and slapped him. What you got going on, sir? And not that everything can be put to blame on this one particular person, but I was thinking about it the other day. Who first brought Jodeci on? Diddy at Uptown. So I'm wondering, was Diddy doing stuff like this to him and them? Because where did you get that from? Why do you feel the need to stand all these people in a line and slap them? Let's see if we can find the full article of this because I have questions. Devontae Swing, Swing. I guess he just says that in his song, or when people do his drops. Like I'm thinking of H Town, and Dino will be like Devontae Swing. He say Swing. Devontae Swing slaps, and this not funny, but when I saw the article and that was the headline, it kind of was funny to me because like, why y'all let that man slap y'all like that? So this is not the newest article that I've seen, but it says Stevie J once shared the tale of how he came to blows with KC after producer slash singer Devontae Swing of Jodeci smacked the hell out of Missy Elliott, Timbaland, and Genuine. Rewind to the 90s, back to the height of Stevie's super producer days when he worked with Missy Elliott, Jodeci, Genuine, Tweet, Timbaland, and others who were part of Devontae Swing's mob label. I didn't know that they were part of his label. In a 2017 interview with Drink Champs, Stevie J recounted the brutal fistfight he had in the recording studio one night with Casey, Devontae's cousin, and his bodyguard. The folks over at I Love Old School Music share some of the highlights of the fight, or from the fight, as detailed by Stevie J in a YouTube clip. I did see a more recent article about this, but I don't get. I know there's a lot of corruption and evil and abuse that happens in the music industry, but maybe it's just not for me to understand. I don't know if these are humiliation rituals, if they have to go through this in order to be successful. I don't understand why torture comes with the contracts. Like, why do you have to put people through things for them to be able to express their talent to the world? It's giving not for me to understand. So on to the next. But again, Jodeci, amazing group, amazing sound. I saw them in concert. I want to say maybe 2 summers ago. Amazing concert. They all sounded good. I don't know if the mics were on or not because I was in the bike. Got my tickets late, so I was in the back. But it was a great concert. The instrumentals were giving. The stage presence was there. Again, I don't know if their mics were on, but they sounded great. It sounded like their mics were on. 112. 112 is another group that I think is very dope, very talented, very nice voices. And just like Boys to Men, they don't have all the original members. Boys to Men is only like 3 members now. The man with the deep bass voice is not in the group anymore. And 112, I want to say 2 of their original members are no longer in it. I know Slim and one other guy is still a part of 112. I saw them in concert about going on 4 years ago. Good show. I think, like I was saying, just like Boys to Men, to me, the talent is there, the voices are there. They have good singles. Actually, my first ever CD was a 112 single. I think it was the song called "Love Me." Still have my first CD somewhere downstairs, but they don't do it for me as far as the sexiness, the soulfulness, the songs. I don't know. Even though they got the song Anywhere, like they got sexy songs, but I don't believe them, if that makes sense. Jagged Edge. Jagged Edge is in like my top 5 or my top 6 90s R&B groups. Um, they are twins, and then 2 other guys. I think it's Kyle and what is it? Wingo, Kyle, Wingo, Brandon, and Brian. Um, they have great voices. They have great music as well. I was listening back to J.E. Heartbreak CD, which I had growing up. Somebody stole some of my CDs back in the day, so I would have all these in my collection still. I don't know if I still have this one, but J.E. Heartbreak was a really good album. Like, you can literally put it on and just let it play, no skips. Um, they I don't know if they've done a J.E. Heartbreak tour like specifically for that album. I know they're going on tour right now, but if they could just sing every song from that album, I would be happy with that. They sound good. They did have some controversy. I know one of the twins, Brandon or Brian, used to go with Latavia and Destiny's Child. The other one might have went with Latoya. I don't know. They also, this was, I don't think this was publicized, but because I personally know the members of H-Town now, hopefully this ain't no secret because they told us this in private, but Dino and Shazam got into a fight with Brandon and Brian before. So I'm like, why are the R&B guys always throwing them hands? But again, they from the hood too. It's just they sing, they don't rap. I want to look up this particular controversial thing that happened because we often talk about, we judge people for what they're doing in their personal life and cancel them. And, like the R. Kellys and whoever else, Tory Lanez. So people feel conflicted about playing their music when they've done something horrific, especially towards women or children. A lot of people get canceled for that. And then there's an argument for people that, I'm going to separate the person from the music. And I think that, some things are just terrible, of course. But I feel like if we want to start like Chris Brown, a lot of people, have canceled him, but then he's still a mega superstar, and a lot of people have moved on. Rihanna forgave him, they forgive him too, whatever. Some people separate the music from him. They don't like him, but they like his music. And some people are like, F him, F his music, whatever. But when we really think about, if we were to cancel every artist from from things that they've done in their personal life, there's a lot of things that we have no idea what they're doing in their personal life. But some of the things are public, like Kyle from Jagged Edge. He got arrested for aggravated assault. I'm trying to see what year this was. This was 2015. So it says Jagged Edge singer Kyle Norman is facing charges of aggravated assault after being arrested early in the morning on Thursday, January 29th in Atlanta, Georgia. Norman's fiance called the police after the R&B singer allegedly attacked her. Police told Us Weekly that the victim had welts under her eyes, a golf ball-sized knot on her upper left forehead, a cut on her nose, and a burst blood clot in her right eye. Norman's fiance told police that the singer, who was 38 at the time, punched and choked her. Oh, I'm sorry. Trigger warning for anybody that is sensitive to this type of talk. My apologies. But Norman's fiance told police that the singer, 38, punched and choked her with a scarf before shoving her engagement ring down her throat, further choking her. He also allegedly took her car keys and broke her cell phone while she attempted to leave. And he also stated that she was going to die that day. The victim told police that she tried to calm her fiancé down, agreeing with him and soothing him long enough that she could escape to a neighbor's house. When the police arrived, Norman was running down the sidewalk and shouted, "I need to go to jail." The couple reportedly got into a fight about Norman's drinking, and the singer later told police that he was upset to learn about his father's recent cancer diagnosis when the fight began. Norman's fiance is being treated at the Atlanta Medical Center and he was taken to jail and charged with aggravated assault. And then it says Jagged Edge is best known for the 2001 hit collaboration with Nelly, "Where the Party At." Um, so that did get some press when it first happened, but of course, no one talks about it now. We just talk about liking Jagged Edge's music and being a fan of them. So is it really that people um can people actually separate the artist from the music, or do people just forget and move on? Is it really that important to them? Or should we start shaming people that have done terrible things and hold them to it for the rest of their lives and just cancel them? Like, even with, let's say, the rapper The Baby, some of the things that he commented on, made comments of the LGBTQ plus community. He still suffered from that, his career. And I think some people were on the fence about it, but then when he went live, kicking out his baby mama while they had a newborn, he just further counseled himself. But I think now he's starting to come back around. I'm trying to pull this Instagram back up. It closed out. Okay. So what do y'all think? Do you think that we can separate the artist from the music, or do you think that if you do something wrong, we just gotta hold your feet to the fire for the rest of your life? Blackstreet. I saw Blackstreet in concert, I want to say last summer or the summer before. It was cool. Was that Blackstreet? Yeah. It was cool. Teddy Riley wasn't there, I don't think. I don't know if they still together like that, if he tours with them, but they went through a few different changes with their members, because Dave Hollister was in the group at one point and then he wasn't. So Blackstreet is cool. They're not in my top, when I think of like top 5, top 3, they're not in it, but they got some good songs. Before I Let You Go, with Dave Hollister leading the vocals, that's always a great one. Of course, I Like the Way You Work, No Diggity. Um, Don't Leave. Those are the ones that pop up. Oh, they had another one, Deep, that came out kind of like in the 2000s, early 2000s. That one was good too. Drew Hill, Baltimore. I think they're from Baltimore. Um, Amazing vocals. I would say they're in my top 6. They I saw them in concert 2 summers ago. They have merged their group with some members of Playa, the ones that sing "Cheers to You for giving me a chance." I'll be that song. So it's about 6 or 7 of them at this point. And what I will say is everybody's mic was on. There was no question as to if the mics were on or not. The mics were on. They they sounded pretty good. I mean, they sounded great, but I'm just trying to think. It seemed like everybody was trying to make sure everybody knew that their mics were on. So it was a lot of singing, a lot of, lead vocals when everybody can't be lead, but it was good. They ended the show with Cisco's uh, thong song. And speaking of Cisco, Cisco has amazing vocals. Jazz has amazing vocals. They all sound pretty good. Nokio don't really do leads like that, and I don't know what Woody sound like either. But Cisco, Cisco's debut album, Unleash the Dragon. Yes, thumbs up. Unleash the Dragon was an amazing debut solo album. Like, just go back and listen to it if you haven't heard it or if you haven't heard it in a while. Unleash the Dragon was a great first solo album. He had another couple, maybe 1 or 2 albums after that, but that was a good one. But Drew Hill, everybody, they got a signature song and dance, and you hear it coming on. Tell me what you want. Like, if you got a dance move to your song, it's gonna automatically be a hit off top. So they got Tell Me, they got 5 Steps, they got I was about to call it 2 different things. I was about to say Meeting in My Bedroom, and I was gonna say Stranger in My House, but it's neither one of those. It's Sleeping in My Bed. Somebody sleeping in my bed. They have Drew Hill, Beauty. They got a lot of beautiful songs. Absolutely. Next. I feel like Next is underrated. They're in my top 5, actually. Top 5 or top 6, because the 3 to 6 can, or I would say 4 to 6 can be interchangeable. But Next, I will say the Rated Next album is one of my favorite R&B albums, actually. And I've been an R&B connoisseur. A lot of the R&B songs and albums and groups that are my favorite now have been my favorite since they were first out and I was a child. I was born in 88. I was born in the late 80s. So I grew up in the 90s. So I was a child when these songs were coming out, and I knew good music then. I was listening to them in my Walkman. And shout out to, of course, my parents gave me some of my musical influences, but some of the people that really influenced my musical taste, my Uncle Buck. Shout out to my Uncle Buck. He is 8 years older than me. He's my mom's youngest brother. A lot of the R&B, I'm a H-Town fanatic because of him. Like, he introduced me to H-Town and just had a great collection of music. If he wanted to be a DJ, he definitely could be, because he always stayed up on great music. He has an old soul as well, so once he starts liking an artist, he will listen to them all the time. So when I lived with my grandma, I used to hear Sam Cooke 24/7 when he was really into Sam Cooke at the time. Like, literally, we could be sleeping and all over here, sudden you hear, whoa, 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 like, what in the world? You send me, like, Sam Cooke. I remember just Rick James. Like, my musical taste was heavily influenced by my Uncle Buck. My cousin Tasca and my cousin Shay. It's kind of like a bonus of what they call it, a twofer deal, basically, because a lot of Tasca's music taste was influenced by Shay, but I would get the residual of that. So Shay and Tasca, with their sisters, they're my cousins. On my dad's side, my Auntie Jackie's daughters, both of them influenced a lot of my love for R&B as well. great music taste. And then my aunt Sar, who was my mother's youngest sister, she's 4 years older than me. She influenced my musical taste as well, R&B and rap. Um, she was the first person to introduce me to UGK and 3 6 Mafia. Like, I grew up in Colorado, but of course, my family, my mom's side is from Birmingham, Alabama. My dad's parents and family is from Shreveport. We didn't really get a lot of influence from Louisiana because my grandfather, um, my grandmother kind of, they both left when they were young. And they didn't really give us too much influence with the Louisiana um, culture or whatever. But my family from Birmingham, when my aunt, whenever she would live in Colorado, because sometimes she would live with my grandma, sometimes she would live with her dad. She would always bring new music, new sounds to me, and share certain things, certain influences, and then she makes beats as well, and she raps. She used to freestyle. Her and my cousin Nikki are queen of freestyle rap since they were kids. So they would freestyle, they would rap. And anytime I would go to Birmingham for like the summer or just for whatever occasion, I would come back with the new music that wasn't in Colorado yet. So that influenced my music taste as well. A lot of my southern rap and even R&B songs that I love, I got that from visiting Birmingham growing up. And I would tell anybody that Birmingham has some of the best R&B radio stations that I've ever heard. Like, Atlanta has a few R&B stations, but can't nobody top them Birmingham R&B stations. You can put that radio on and just be vibing out. I'm trying to see who else heavily influenced my musical taste. I said it's one other person that I'm thinking of, but I can't. It's not coming to me right now. But when my parents, as far as my parents, they would always play smooth jazz in the car. And I used to hate it as a child. I didn't know, I don't know if that's a thing or what, but it's interesting because there's this little boy, it's a little white boy named Miles on Instagram that I follow his page. I think it's called the Miles the Kid, or let me see. I don't want to mess it up because I want to make sure if y'all want to follow him. Miles Music Kid on Instagram. He's like a musical prodigy. He makes music from scratch. He is talented. He can sing. He can produce. He can play instruments. But he's still like a little kid. Like, he will take breaks from making these songs from scratch to go jump around or have a juicy break or something like that. But it was funny because he had used a sample from a smooth jazz. I think it was Kenny G song. And he was saying that this is from my least favorite genre. And they played, he's like 7 now, but they played a flashback from when he was 3 years old. And he was like, you made me listen to Kenny G. Like, he'd been hating smooth jazz. But it cracked me up because I'm like, it must be something to that. Because as a kid, I did not like smooth jazz. I used to just cringe being in the backseat listening to smooth jazz all the time. And the only artists that I would like to listen to that played on the smooth jazz stations were Anita Baker, who's my favorite female vocalist, and Sade. So I could listen to smooth jazz now, but not that long. I think smooth jazz, you gotta be real grown. You gotta be real grown to really enjoy smooth jazz. I don't know if Kim is considered smooth jazz, but I love me some Kim, Kem. Um, but yes, that would be some of the influence that I got from my parents, like smooth jazz, oldies. My first concert that I ever went to was an oldies concert with my parents. Like, it was like the Shy Lights, the Stylistics, them, the Dales, and just all of them in one concert. So listening to that type of music, Earth, Wind, and Fire. My dad used to actually announce Earth, Wind, and Fire because I think some of them are from Colorado. So yeah, those type of musical influences I got from my parents. My grandma, my mom's mom, Grandma Linda, she used to love her some R&B. Like, she loved R. Kelly. She loved Charlie Wilson. She loved, she just loved anything that was fresh and new too. She really liked newer music. My dad's mother, she pretty much only listened to gospel. So a lot of my gospel influence, listening to certain songs that I love and remember, come from my paternal grandmother, Itasca. So songs that stick out in my memory, the um, the song by Al Green, "Everything Is Gonna Be All Right." That song. Um, there's a song by Shirley Caesar, "Hold My Mule." I remember hearing that so many times. um, the Clark sisters, "You Are the Sun." Is it "You Are the Sunshine"? You are my sun. You are the sunshine. That song. Um, there's a few other songs that really stick out, but definitely some Shirley Caesar, some Clark sisters, Al Green. She liked that type of music. And I don't know. I guess just growing up listening to certain things, I just always loved me some R&B. I was staying up to watch Midnight Love. Midnight Love came on at 10 p.m. in Colorado because it was midnight Eastern time. So I stayed up, listened to that. And I could just remember literally just always having a Walkman and listening to R&B. Sometimes I'll listen to rap, but mostly R&B. Um, and I'm saying all this because I'm talking about Next. The Rated Next album, I just remember loving that album. I remember us traveling because we used to go to Birmingham via what is it called? Greyhound. Can't I don't remember the name because I can't stand Greyhound. I vowed the last time that we took a Greyhound bus, I will never travel like this again. But I remember being on a Greyhound bus just listening to the Rated Next album on repeat. And that sounds crazy. It's coming from a child, but it's like that's the type of music we listened to back then. But yeah, I love me some Next. Go listen to Rated Next album if you have never heard it. Now, B2K were plastered on my walls as a child. I could show you the pictures. Let me see if I have any handy. B2K was a popular boy group. I want to say they might have come out early 2000s. I don't think they were at the end of the 90s. I think they were like early 2000s. Here's a picture from my childhood bedroom. I think I was probably 13 in this picture. And if you zoom in right there, there's a poster of B2K. I got Omarion right there. That might have been the picture where he looked goofy too. Omarion. It's not a great picture because it's a picture of a picture. Mario. Nelly. Can't tell who that is. Bow Weezy. Bow Wow. There's B2K again. There's Bone Thugs and Harmony. Um, I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's Nelly. It's looking like LL Cool J. Who knows? And IMX, formerly Immature. That is so funny. And then here's another picture from that same room, but on a different wall. I think I might have been 14 then, because I remember I was in freshman year. Got Bow Weezy again. And I have no idea who these folks is over here. Oh, there's Sammy, the original cover of his album. I think B2K, that might be Lil Romeo. I don't know who those folks are. But B2K, of course, was, a girl's dream back then. Um, oh, here's another wall. I think I was maybe 17 by this time. You can't really tell. There you go. And who I was in love with at that time? T.I. I remember printing these pictures off at the library and put them on my closet doors. That is so funny. But Yeah. B2K, they were a girl's dream. My crushes were J Bug and Omarion. But I always thought J Bug was the cutest. That's him right there. And then Omarion. And Omarion's first album, solo album, love that one too. That's like one of the soundtracks of my senior year of high school. Slow dancing, trying to act like I don't want. Is that the name of the song? I'm trying to slow dancing, and is O on that album? Let me see. Oh, it's gonna be the sound, girl, and it's going down. Yep, Touches on the album too. But I'm trying to, and Slow Dancing are my favorite from that album. Came out in 2005. I graduated in '06. Jackson 5. We all know that they are a classic group. They had, so much talent that came from that group. Michael was, of course, the lead singer from a young age. Like, go back and look at some of the footage of the Jackson 5 and hear the vocals that came out of that little bitty boy. And just think when the last time you heard those type of vocals and seen those type of dance moves from a child that young. Um, but yeah, Jackson 5, dope. Like I told y'all the other day, Jackson 5 and American Dream is like one of my favorite biopic series. Um, and if I was their age back when they were coming up, I would have been crushing on Jackie. I don't hear nobody talking about him as much, but he is a handsome man. Or he was handsome back then. He handsome still, but y'all see that? Handsome. And Michael's so handsome too. I don't know if he didn't know that, but yes. Guy. See, Guy is like, I don't know. I might have to switch up my top 6 because Guy is a great group as well. Like, they got my favorite song by Guy is I Like. And you remember a couple years ago it went viral on TikTok when people was doing a little dance like, and these TikTokers, and I love TikTok, but sometimes they take classic songs and give the Gen Z moves to it, and it's just they kind of ruin the nostalgia of it. Because I remember I was on a date one night. This guy I was dating, we would go out every Friday night to go dancing. We were leaving the club. And he walked ahead of me. He thought I was right behind him. By the time he looked back, I was back on the dance floor because I Like came on. And it's just one of those songs that you just can't walk out on. Like, I love that song. So I Like, they have, what are some of the songs that I like by Guy? I'm going to have to look at my own personal library. Of course, they have I Miss You. Don't tell me I ain't got no Guy in my own. They got Piece of My Love. I ain't even got no Guy in my thing. Uh-oh. They got I Like, Piece of My Love are the popular ones. Groove Me, of course. Let's Chill. Like, come on. Where's the music that sounds like this? Goodbye Love. Come on. And you know who produced their album that I just talked about him in another group, but Teddy Riley, like, when there's 2 playlists that you can put on and literally play from start, like, no skips, for real, no skips, on Apple Music. Produced by Teddy Riley and produced by Babyface. You're gonna get back to back to back to back hits. So of course they got Teddy's Jam. Matter of fact, and this album came out the year I was born, 1988, and it's just that good. Yearning for Your Love, and that was a remake from what was Charlie Wilson's group? My heart is yearning for your love. What group was Charlie Wilson in, y'all? The Gap Band. The Gap Band. I personally like the Gap Band's version better, but I think he did all right with the sample. But Guy, definitely one of the top groups as well. They had the instrumentals with it because Teddy Riley produced. You know what I'm saying? The Temptations, of course, they have their classic. Like, who can deny that they brought classic music, how influential they are to music, black music, all music. Um, and the movie that was created in their likeness is amazing. Like, people say Temptations or the Five Heartbeats. I'm Temptations. I know that the Five Heartbeats were loosely based off of what? The Dales, I think. Let me not misspeak because that might not even be the group. I like the real biopics. So it was loosely based off of, it says inspired by several R&B groups. One being the Dell, so I was right on that. Okay, that's the only one they mentioned is the Dells. But the Temptations, I feel like if I start that movie, I'm gonna watch it. It was long, but very passionate. I love to see people's story and how they got their claim to fame and the things that they went through and overcame. Chef Kiss, the Isley Brothers, who ain't been performing. Let's just talk about the Isley Brothers. We're gonna have to look up some Isley Brothers facts because they've been out for so many decades. It don't even make no sense. I think they came out in the 60s. Let's just go here. The Isley Brothers are an American soul group originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. They began as a vocal trio consisting of the brothers O'Kelly Isley Jr., Rudolph Isley, and Ronald Isley in the 1950s. With a career spanning over 7 decades, the group has enjoyed one of the longest, most influential, and most diverse careers in the pantheon? Let me say it right now, of popular music. So years active, wow. 1954, which is the year my father was born. My daddy is about to be 71 next week. That is a long career. And they look they look I can't cap. They looked old when they first came out. They look younger now. Together with the fourth brother Vernon, the group performed gospel music until Vernon's death a few years after its formation. After moving to New York City in the late 1950s, the group had their first successes during these early years and rose to prominence in 1959 with their fourth single, Shout. You know you make me wanna shout. Yeah. That became their first single to chart Billboard Hot 100 and sold over 1 million copies, which is dope in the 1950s. In the 1960s, the group recorded songs for a variety of labels, including the top 20 single Twisted and Shout. Is that it? The Motown. I gotta sing songs in my head, y'all. The Motown single This Old Heart of Mine is Weak for You. Before recording and releasing the Grammy Award winning hit It's Your Thing. It's Your Thing. Do what you want to do. That was on their own label, T-Neck Records. The inclusion of younger brothers Ernie Isley, lead guitar and drums, and Marvin Isley, bass, guitar, and Rudolph's brother-in-law, Chris Jasper, keyboard synthesizers, in 1973 turned the original vocal trio into a complete band and led to the group's reaching the height of their success. For the next full decade, they recorded a string of top-selling albums, including 3+3, Between the Sheets, and The Heat Is On, with the latter peaking at #1 on the Billboard 200 chart. The six-member band splintered in 1983 with Ernie, Marvin, and Chris Jasper forming the short-lived spin-off group Isley Jasper Isley. The oldest member, O'Kelly, died in 1986. Afterwards, Rudolph and Ronald released a pair of albums as a duo before Rudolph retired to a life in the Christian ministry in 1989. After multiple lineup changes, the remaining duo of Ronald and Ernie achieved mainstream success with the albums Mission to Please in 96, Eternal in 2001, and Body Kiss in 2003. Eternal spawned the top 20 hit Contagious. I feel like all them songs, I mean, all of those albums that came out in the 90s and early 2000s, R. Kelly was involved. And they made great music. As of 2025, the Isley Brothers continue to perform under the lineup of Ronald and Ernie. The Isley Brothers have sold over 18 million units in the United States alone, with their first major hit charting in 1959, Shout, and their last one in 2001, Contagious. They are among a few groups ever to have hit the Billboard Hot 100 with new music in 6 different decades, and the only act in musical history to have achieved this accomplishment in consecutive decades: 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. 16 of their albums charted in the top 40, and 13 of those albums have been certified gold, platinum, or multi-platinum by the RIAA. The brothers have been honored by several musical institutions, including the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which inducted them in 1992. 5 years later, they were added to the Hollywood's Rock Walk, and in 2003, they were inducted to the Vocal Group Hall of Fame. They received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2014. And there's so much more information about them, but that is so dope. Like, who, other than groups like, Earth, Wind, and Fire and Frankie Beverly and Maze, I don't know who else has got the longevity like the Isley Brothers. And they stay current. I know, again, like those albums that R. Kelly had hands in, I feel like that kind of reemerged them to a different audience and a different sound, which was good. I don't know what they got going on now, but Ron Isley is looking greater than ever. He's with one of the ladies from the JS, was it JS Sisters? Johnson Sisters, JS. They have the song Ice Cream, and I believe they were featured on the not Contagious, but the Busted song. Busted. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Where you been? Baby, then you get my two-way. The sister that was on that song is not the sister that he married. It's the other one. But she's younger, a lot younger. But she keeping him young, and the beard looks good on him. So then we got Tony. I saw them last summer. Raphael Sadiq wasn't there, but they did put on a good show. It was a little long, but the show was good. They, they got the band, they got the great sound as well. I love It Never Rains in California. I love Whatever You Want. It Feels Good. Like, they got some hits. And Raphael Sadiq is a beast when it comes to music as well. He was the music director for the show Insecure as well. So I keep saying as well. He was the music director for Insecure. So when you go back and listen to how amazing the sound was, the songs were, the treatment for Insecure, the way the music comes in, the music choices, he had his hand in that. Shy. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't have made this list, but I will say that I only know one song from them, right? Shy. And if I ever fall in love again, I will. I'm looking at all the other songs. I've never heard of them. So I'll just say they did a great job with that single. Y'all did that. Silk. Silk is another group that is in my top 3. I saw them about 4 years ago. I got to meet a couple of the members. I got to sing with Lil G. I can't sing like that, but who gonna pass down the opportunity to sing with Lil G? I'm gonna play it in a minute. But they put on a great show, and their vocals are amazing. Lil G, Lil G and John John are my favorites out of the group. They're they literally they bear. I can't say that they miss when they're in their group and they're in their bag. I seen Lil G in person too. I mean, in concert with just him as his solo career. And when I went to see him, I was introduced to Dave Tolliver, who is a member of Men at Large, who was a Gerald Levert's group that I don't know if he signed them or, whatever, but when we went to the Lil G concert at the City Winery, Dave Tolliver opened for him, and he still has that 90s sound that I love. So shout out to Dave Tolliver. We friends on Instagram. I cooked for him and his family some vegan boil, and he serenaded my mother for her birthday about 4.5 years ago. So shout out to Dave Tolliver. But Silk, I believe they were, I don't know if they were discovered, but they were definitely in signed with or collaborated with Keith Sweat. They don't miss when it comes to them vocals. Their mics be on, the falsettos, the range, the harmony, the songs, the music. Like, my favorite song by them is the one that I sang with Lil G. Let me find this song. This video. It's called Love You Down. But of course they got Meeting in My Bedroom. They got is it called You? You, It Had to Be You. They got let me name some of my favorite Silk songs. If You, Lose Control, Freak Me, I Can Go Deep, Don't Rush, Let's Make Love. Let's Make Love probably is my second favorite. Girl, You For Me, like, come on. They got it. Let me play this. Do not judge my vocals. Y'all know I be singing all the time. Don't really. I don't really care how it be sounding, but singing makes me happy, even if I'm not the greatest singer. So the backstory on this is, I told y'all that H-Town is now a friend of the family. I've always been a H-Town fan. My uncle on my mom's side is the one that introduced me to H-Town, and he's always been a big fan. My aunt actually started really getting back into their music on my dad's side. She started falling in love with their music again. I want to say she might have seen them in concert. I'm not sure. But my family ended up booking H-Town to sing at her 60th birthday party. The video of her reaction, I sent it to the Shade Room because it was just so, like, she was so surprised, and they posted it and it went viral, had millions and millions of views. But ever since that time, they've become a friend of the family. So whenever they're in town, they meet up, we meet up, we're cool with them. And so they were doing a concert in Vegas in 2021 with Silk, 112, John B, As Yet, which I used to call them AZ Yet all the time, As Yet, and some other, maybe one or two other acts. And so H-Town was coming over to my aunt. My aunt has a condo in Vegas, and we were all there. And so they were coming over, and they brought Lil G and, why I can't never remember this man's name. They brought Lil G and while that's coming up, I'm looking for the video. Lil G and Jimmy, they came too, and we cooked and we just talked and listened to music and vibed out or whatever. And so I was able to meet them too. And as we were walking them to their car, that's when I started telling Lil G why y'all don't have my favorite song in the set, Love You Down. So then I started singing it, and he started singing it with me. So that's the backstory of that video. I went too far back on my page, because this was spring of 2021. Okay. So here's all of us at my aunt's condo. That's me and GI. Me and GI have met probably like 4 or 5 times. We got so many pictures over the years. This was my first time actually meeting Shazam because I used to see GI all the time in Houston. That's my mom and Shazam. That's me and Lil G, my cousin and GI, my cousin and Shazam, my cousin and Lil G, me, my cousin and Shazam. And here's the video of me singing with Lil G. You and I we stand was forever, and baby, let me love you all like this. And that's what I say. I be there if I sit here alone. I kill me softly with your sexy feel. Let me love you, baby. Yeah. 30 miles to the break of dawn. I wanna hold you, kiss you, squeeze you, touch you, love you down. Let me love you down. I'm trying to go for the second. I was about to say the second verse, baby. But it was just, they were really cool. And mind you, we were walking, and it was Vegas in the middle of May or June. It was hot AF. So don't judge my vocals again. But yeah, that was fun. They were cool. And so mindless behavior, I can't really speak on them because I don't remember them like that. Like, I think I was a little bit older when mindless behavior came out. I know that song. I think it's because my girls and girls, they love me. I don't really know them like that. Let me see when they came out. Oh, Mrs. Right. I gotta see her. 2011. I wasn't grown as hell, but 2011, I was how old? I was 18 in 06. It was 5. I was like 23. I was married. I was not thinking about no mindless behavior like that. I heard their music. I think my stepkids were probably listening to them at that point. So yeah, I didn't really get into them. But there are so many different groups that they did not include. Again, like H-Town, my number one favorite group. My favorite vocalist is Dino. R.I.P. Dino. No voice is like, his voice is unmatched for me. My favorite albums, I love all their albums, but Begging After Dark is my favorite. Then Ladies Edition, then Fever for the Favor, and then some of the other ones that were made right around Dino's death or after. I don't really have favorites of those, but those are my top 3 albums of theirs. And I just think that they got it. They had it all. Like, they had the looks, the moves, the sound, the songs. And when people hear H-Town, they automatically think Knock on the Boots. Yes, that was their most popular single. But I need y'all to get into the track lists. Go ahead and put on them songs that weren't really as popular. Of course, they, other popular songs of theirs, They Like It Slow, Emotions, Thin Line Between Love and Hate. They have some amazing singles. Baby I Wanna, Lick You Up. I think those were singles as well. And Part-Time Lover. They got a Full-Time Lover that wasn't a single, and it's just as good as Part-Time Lover. They got Tumble and Rumble. They got, is it Tumble and Rumble or Tumble and Roll? Tumble and Roll. They got Backseat with No Sheets, One Night Gigolo, A Woman's Work. Like, get into the track list and come back and talk to me about it. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight some Black music today, talk about these groups, have a little fun with y'all, give y'all my personal opinion. Y'all let me know what your thoughts are. Who are some of the musical groups or musical influences that influence you, that you grew up listening to? What are your thoughts on Black male groups? Who's your top? Tell me if you watch this, when you watch this. What are your top 3 90s R&B male groups? And then I can tell you everything I need to know about you. And let's shout out Pretty Ricky as well. Like, I talked about them briefly, but they were also the soundtrack to my, I want to say, junior and senior year. It might have been a little grown for us to be listening to that type of music, but they definitely was given the great music. Their first two albums, amazing. I want to know what happened in their life. Like, give me the biopic. Give me the Pretty Ricky biopic. Um, so I will ask you for your journaling prompt, what genre of music speaks to your soul the most and why? Music is one of my biggest love languages if we could create our own outside of the five. Music, listening to music, the history of music, the culture of music, dancing to music, writing music. I used to write songs and poems when I was younger. I have a lot of, I have a lot of them that I still have, but I kind of stopped. I did write one song um, recently. You can check my link in my bio. Don't judge me on the song. I love it, but I really wish the chorus was a little different. But I wrote the song. If you want to check it out, it's called Survivors Rejoice. It's on all streaming platforms too, Survivors Rejoice. But it was a song for me about healing and about overcoming trauma and not being a victim to it. My mother, Sweet Tea Inspiration, says that her mother, who she calls moms, like the Dales. I didn't know that. I didn't know grandma liked the Dales. You learn something new every day. But yes, um, the reason why I want you to write about that in your journal, what genre of music speaks to your soul the most and why, is because music really shapes a lot of our lives. And sometimes when you really think about how it has impacted you, or you get into the nostalgia of the music, other great memories can come up as well. Music is so powerful. There are people who are going through dementia and Alzheimer's, and music does something to them. Sometimes it never goes away. Like, you play a song from their childhood or their younger life, and something happens. They remember. They remember the words. They start dancing and talking again. I remember there was a resident when I was working in memory care. Well, I actually was the manager over assisted living and memory care, and then I was working at skilled nursing one day, and one of the skilled nursing residents, I would walk with her to the memory care unit where there was a piano, and one day, I don't know if she suggested sitting at the piano or if I told her to just have a seat at the piano, but she asked me for some music, and I put the music in front of her, and she just got to playing the piano. Nobody in the whole building knew that she could play the piano. She had dementia. She had sundowning. Like, when the sun set, she started really having episodes, and her memory was, she didn't have really short term memory. Her short term memory loss was very. Um, it was. I'm trying to think. Did she have any type of short term memory? I don't know, but her dementia was really bad, and her family didn't visit as often, so they didn't tell us. We didn't know that she could play the piano. But from that day on, I would take her over to memory care and let her play the piano. It was like one of her greatest joys. So again, music is powerful. Think about what music is for you and how it heals your soul. And I always say to some of my clients, when it comes to inner child healing, create a playlist of songs that you listened to when you were your happiest. So sometimes that's childhood, sometimes that's when they were teenagers, whatever genre or era in your life, whatever era that you felt the most joy, create a playlist with some of those songs you love and watch how it can help heal you. And my mother says that she likes smooth jazz, old school R&B, OJs, and the Whispers. Absolutely. And I still get influenced by my mama's taste in music. She put me on to Jeffrey Osborne and the Whispers because I've listened to their music before, but I never really got into it like that. And I bought my mom tickets to Freddie Jackson and Jeffrey Osborne a few years ago for her birthday. And the person that she had invited wasn't able to come, so I went with her. And I was really looking forward to seeing Freddie Jackson because I love his music and his sound. Tell me why. And sorry to you, Mr. Freddie Jackson, but it was a terrible performance. his vocals weren't popping like that. The the performance in itself was not good. He was doing too much. And I was really disappointed. And the whole crowd was. I'm like, wow. But when I tell you that Jeffrey Osborne got on that stage, that man, I think he's in his late 70s or early 80s. Let me see how old Jeffrey Osborne is. When I tell you that was one of the greatest concerts I had been to. And I'm usually not into, he's 76, so he probably was like 73 at the time, 74. Um, Sometimes voices like Jeffrey Osborne, or he kind of gives me the same type of style of voice as Lionel Richie, kind of. But Jeffrey Osborne has more soul. Like I can't really get into a lot of Lionel Richie's songs, but Jeffrey Osborne, they kind of have that, like, it's kind of they have a proper voice, proper sound when they enunciate their words when they sing. But Jeffrey Osborne has some soul with it too. Like, he was an amazing performer. All his songs were amazing. He ran into the crowd, went all the way to the back of the amphitheater, and I was a fan ever since. So thank you, Mama, for the influences, the Whispers. Mama went through a phase where she was just listening to a lot of the Whispers, and I love their music as well. We saw them in concerts maybe 2 summers ago with Johnny Gill and the OJs. So that was an amazing concert, and we saw the OJs then, and then we saw Eddie Levert last summer. So it's almost concert season. I'm excited. If y'all haven't noticed, I love music. I love talking about music. I probably should be. I think maybe when I become a rich woman and I don't have to work, I don't have to do coaching, I don't have to do content, I don't have to do anything but just collect money. Maybe then I will get into my passion of being like a music historian. And when I get older, I might do. I might get into that a little bit more. I feel like I could do that. I could be a music historian for sure. But I love music, and I'm excited because concert season is coming up. And of course, there's concerts year round, but I like outdoor concerts. I like festivals. I like outdoor concerts. So I'm excited about concert season, spring, summer. Um, the last concert I went to in the winter, I took myself to see Xavier Omar in LA. Um, Not last winter, but not this we're still in winter, but like not this past December, but like the one before that in 2023. That was an amazing concert as well. And I want to tell y'all, if you ain't got nobody to go to a concert with, go by yourself. Go have you a good time. Listen, the last concert I went to solo, I have it on my Instagram too, the solo date, was Eric Benet and Joe. When I tell you I seen Joe back in 2012, amazing. The performance was amazing. He was dancing, singing, playing the guitar, doing all the things. And so I've been wanting to see him again. And I missed him when he came around with Tamia. But he and Eric Benet had a concert, I want to say last September or October. Might have been October. I wasn't missing that for nothing. Not only was Joe amazing, it wasn't as amazing as it was that first time I saw him in 2012, but it was still great. Eric Benet was amazing. He is not only a great singer, but the man is funny. He could literally go on a one-man show and do comedy and music. It was a great show. But anywho, write down that journaling prompt. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel, youtube.com/@Osha Cerese. If you are a single, intentional dater, hopeful romantic, and you are looking for love in 2025, make sure you are on my Intentional Love Collective database. It's in the link on right now. It's linked in my bio for now. But make sure you go ahead and fill out that form to be included. It's a growing community and database. Allows me to provide you with curated experiences, singles, mixers, speed dating, and maybe a little matchmaking as well with people who you are actually interested in and attracted to and have shared values with. So join the Intentional Love Collective. If you need some coaching support on your healing, self-discovery, self-love, or intentional dating journey, feel free to book a discovery call. You can go to my website, oshacerese.com, OSHACERESE.com, and book a discovery call so I can find out how I can support you best on your journey. You can also book a strategy call if you are an influencer, a creative, a business owner, someone looking to monetize or utilize your gifts, and you just don't know which direction to go in. If you have a direction and you just need a content strategy, or you need support with digital products like ebooks, courses, anything like that, book a strategy call. I got you. Um, Courses for healing. You can do one single step at a time. That is a 6-week guided workshop. It is inner child healing, shadow work, relationship past trauma, unpacking that, forgiveness, acceptance, self discovery. Who are you? What do you like? What do you need? How do you want to feel in your next relationship? How do you need to align with that? And how to prepare for the future, whether that is in life, love, or career. That is a guided workshop that comes along with coaching. And it also comes with the How to Beat Single guided journal, which you can also just purchase individually on oshacerese.com. You can get your book and do the work on your own. Or if you want something a little simpler than the 6-week program, enroll in 5 ways in 5 days. It is a self-love program which teaches you how to incorporate your love languages into your daily acts of self-love and self-care. It also teaches you how to uncover any blockages you may have with giving and receiving love. So those are your options for right now. Visit oshacerese.com. Look around. I'm actually updating my website this week, so you'll see some updates soon. And just stay tuned for the Osha Cerese Show. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and I will see you tomorrow. Have a good night.